What if we told you that some of Hollywood's wildest, most unbelievable scandals happened almost a century ago, long before the golden age of the silver screen was even in full swing? From whispered affairs to vanished fortunes, shocking trials to mysteries that are still unsolved. These forgotten scandals rocked the industry and shaped the legends we know today. So, which of your favorite classic stars hid the darkest secrets? Get ready, because we're about to reveal the top 10 forgotten scandals of pre-code Hollywood. Clara Bo, the It Girl, and the tabloid storm. Once upon a time in Hollywood, Clara Bo was the very definition of modern energy. Carefree, charming, and bursting with charisma. Nicknamed the It Girl, she soared to fame in the silent era and became the symbol of the roaring 20s. But Clara's journey to stardom wasn't just paved with flashing lights and roaring applause. Behind the glitz, she was at the center of a whirlwind of tabloid stories and damaging rumors that would have made any studio executive sweat. Clara's life off the screen was just as headline-grabbing as her roles on film. The tabloids of the day churned out story after story, painting her as the wild child of Hollywood. Some tales claimed she hosted late-night gatherings and was always surrounded by admirers. Others suggested she was involved in high-stakes card games and spent too much time with the wrong crowd. At the heart of it all was a relentless press, eager to expose the private lives of their biggest stars. Things took a turn for the worse when a disgruntled former employee sold a series of outlandish stories to the press. These tales were filled with wild accusations, from outrageous behavior to supposed relationships with celebrities and even sports teams. Whether true or not, the rumors began to stick. Studios jumped into crisis mode, hiring publicists to reshape her image and even threatening lawsuits against those who went too far. But as the pressure mounted, Clara's mental health suffered. The very industry that had turned her into a star was also quick to turn its back when scandal threatened profits. With each fresh rumor, her career took another hit, and by the mid-1930s, the It Girl had largely faded from the screen. Today, we look back at Clara Bo as a trailblazer, one who faced down the gossip columns and kept her head held high, even as the world tried to bring her low. Her story remains a classic case of Hollywood's double-edged sword. Fame can lift you up, but it can just as quickly cast you aside. Mae West, Broadway to Hollywood, and a jail cell. Before Mae West lit up the big screen with her legendary wit and larger-than-life presence, she was already making waves on Broadway. Known for her bold sense of humor and clever lines, Mae wasn't afraid to tackle topics others shied away from. But it was her self-written play, Sex, that truly set Hollywood on edge. When the curtain rose on Sex in 1926, audiences were thrilled. The show was daring and different, drawing huge crowds. But some community leaders weren't so pleased. They pressured authorities to take action, and before long, the entire cast, including Mae herself, found themselves under arrest. Mae was charged with corrupting the morals of youth, a serious accusation in those days. She spent 10 days in jail, which only fueled her legend. But here's where Mae's story takes a twist. Instead of letting the scandal end her career, she used it to her advantage. Reporters couldn't get enough of the glamorous actress who went to jail for her art. Hollywood took notice, and soon Mae was in California, starring in movies that played up her larger-than-life personality and razor-sharp wit. Mae West's arrest didn't just change her own career, it changed Hollywood itself. She showed that controversy could be good for business as long as you owned your story. Throughout her career, May continued to challenge expectations, using double meanings and clever wordplay to get her humor past strict censors. She became a symbol of creative freedom and boldness, paving the way for future generations of stars who wanted to push the envelope. Mae West's story is a reminder that sometimes the most daring path is the one worth taking, even if it leads through a jail cell on the way to Hollywood immortality. William Haynes, the star who refused to hide. William Haynes was one of MGM's biggest stars in the late 1920s and early 1930s, known for his quick wit, athletic good looks, and undeniable screen presence. His roles in comedies and romances made him a box office favorite, and he was well on his way to becoming a true Hollywood legend. But William's real life didn't fit the studio's carefully crafted image, and that set the stage for a scandal that would change his career forever. In an era when studios tightly controlled the personal lives of their stars, William Haynes stood out. He lived openly with his longtime companion Jimmy Shields and refused to pretend to be someone he wasn't. This quiet act of honesty was virtually unheard of at the time.
William Haynes chose to be true to himself. He walked away from Hollywood at the height of his fame, a decision that sent shockwaves through the industry. Some predicted his career was over, but William had the last laugh. He and Jimmy Shields started a successful interior design business, counting some of the biggest names in Hollywood among their clients. Though William Haynes's films faded from public view, his quiet courage became legendary within Hollywood circles. He was a reminder that integrity and self-respect could triumph, even in an industry obsessed with appearances. Over time, his story inspired others to live authentically and helped pave the way for greater openness in Hollywood. William Haynes may have left the silver screen, but he never left the hearts of those who admired his bravery. Joan Crawford's rumored blue movie past. Joan Crawford was one of the most glamorous stars of Hollywood's golden age. Known for her steely determination and unforgettable roles, she was the definition of star power. But behind the shimmering surface, Joan faced a rumor that just wouldn't die. A story about her supposed early days in Hollywood, and a film she'd rather forget. The tale went like this. Before Joan became a household name, she appeared in a short film of questionable content. The rumor was that, desperate for money and a shot at stardom, she'd taken a role in a low-budget production that was never meant to see the light of day. As Joan's fame grew, whispers about her alleged past followed her everywhere. No concrete proof of the film ever surfaced, but the rumors were enough to keep studio publicists busy. MGM, desperate to protect the valuable Crawford brand, worked tirelessly behind the scenes. They paid off sources, tracked down prints of the alleged film, and even orchestrated a public denial campaign. Joan herself flatly denied any involvement, but the story remained part of Hollywood gossip for years. The supposed scandal didn't derail Joan's career. If anything, it made her seem even more resilient. She continued to land major roles, win awards, and redefine what it meant to be a leading lady. Her journey from humble beginnings to the heights of Hollywood proved that determination could overcome almost anything, even a rumor that wouldn't go away. In the end, Joan Crawford's story isn't about the shadows of the past. It's about strength, perseverance, and the ability to outshine the gossip columns. She remains one of Hollywood's great survivors, and her legend is all the richer for the battles she fought along the way. Barbara Lamar, the Too Beautiful Tragedy. Barbara Lamar's rise and fall is one of Hollywood's most poignant stories. With her striking looks and magnetic screen presence, she was known as the girl who is too beautiful. Yet, Barbara's life was filled with as much drama off the screen as on it. Barbara's fame skyrocketed in the early 1920s. She was the toast of Hollywood parties and a favorite of studio executives. But fame brought its own pressures. Barbara's personal life became a magnet for gossip columnists, with rumors swirling about her relationships and late-night adventures. Multiple marriages and whispers of affairs added fuel to the fire,
and her love life was dissected by fans and critics alike. As the pressures of stardom mounted, Barbara struggled to keep pace with Hollywood's relentless demands. She turned to various remedies to help her cope with the exhausting schedule and constant attention. Unfortunately, these choices took a toll on her health. In an era with little understanding of stress or the support needed for those under immense pressure, Barbara's well-being began to suffer. Tragically, Barbara Lamar's life was cut short at just 29 years old. Her official cause of death was tuberculosis and kidney failure, but those close to her knew that the relentless lifestyle and the constant chase for perfection had played a part. Her passing was a sobering reminder that behind Hollywood's glitter, there could be heartbreak and loss. Barbara's story has faded from public memory, but in her day, she was a symbol of both Hollywood's enchantment and its dangers. Her legacy is a reminder that beauty and fame are never the whole story, and that even the brightest stars need time to rest. Fatty Arbuckle, the trial that changed Hollywood. Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle was one of the first true superstars of American film, a gifted comedian whose fame reached every corner of the country. But in 1921, his life and career were turned upside down by a scandal that made headlines for months and forever changed Hollywood's relationship with the public. It all started at a San Francisco hotel, where Arbuckle hosted a lavish party. During the festivities, a young actress named Virginia Rapp became gravely ill and later passed away. Arbuckle was accused of causing her injuries, and the ensuing court cases were a media sensation. For nearly 2 years, he stood trial not once, but 3 times. While he was finally acquitted, with the jury even issuing an apology, the damage was already done. The press coverage was relentless and often sensationalized, turning Arbuckle's name into a byword for scandal. Hollywood, still a young industry, realized the need to clean up its image in the eyes of the public. The fallout from the Arbuckle trials was one of the driving forces behind the creation of the Haynes Code, a set of moral guidelines that would shape Hollywood films for decades. Though Arbuckle was found not guilty, he struggled to find work again, and his reputation never fully recovered. The story of Fatty Arbuckle is a lesson in how quickly fortunes can change in Hollywood, and how the court of public opinion can sometimes be
even more powerful than a judge or jury. Tallula Bankhead living out loud.
Tallula Bankhead was the life of every party and the queen of Hollywood's gossip columns. Known for her razor-sharp wit and fearless attitude, she lived her life exactly as she pleased and didn't care who knew it. In an era when stars were expected to be discreet, Tallula made headlines for breaking the rules. Her parties were legendary. Bankhead's home was a gathering place for the brightest stars and creative minds in Hollywood and Broadway. The press loved her for her outspokenness, and she never shied away from discussing the challenges she faced as a woman in a male-dominated industry. Her circle of friends was as eclectic as her career. Writers, actors, and artists all found a place at her table. Tallula's love life also became the stuff of legend. She was refreshingly open about her relationships, a rarity in those days. Some stories suggested that she cared more for living life to the fullest than following society's rules, and she never hesitated to stand up for herself or her friends. Her openness challenged Hollywood's carefully crafted image of its stars and led to plenty of whispered rumors. Despite her sometimes scandalous reputation, Tallula Bankhead's career thrived. She became a symbol of independence and creative freedom, inspiring others to follow their own path. Even today, Tallula is remembered for her humor, her strength, and her refusal to be anything but herself. Ramon Navaro, Hollywood's secret and tragic loss. Ramon Navaro was one of the first international heartthrobs of American film. With his striking features and captivating performances, he rose to fame as MGM's Latin lover. But beneath the glamour, Ramon lived a life shaped by the need for secrecy. Hollywood in the 1920s and 30s was a place of rigid studio control,
where personal lives were managed as closely as movie scripts. Ramon Navaro, despite his enormous popularity, was no exception. He faced constant pressure to keep his private life hidden, and rumors of secret romances and private gatherings swirled around him. Some in the press speculated about the reasons for his reserved public persona, but the truth was known only to a trusted few. The stress of living with so many secrets weighed heavily on Ramon. He was the target of blackmail and threats, and his personal safety was sometimes at risk. Even after his career slowed, Navaro's private life remained a subject of rumor and speculation. The tragic end to his story, his untimely and violent death decades later, only deepened the sense of mystery around him. Ramon Navaro's story is a poignant reminder of the hidden costs of fame, especially in an era when stars were expected to keep their real selves locked away. His legacy endures not just as a film icon, but as a symbol of the quiet strength needed to survive Hollywood's brightest lights.
Jean Harlo and the mystery of Paul Byrne. Jean Harlo was known as the blonde bombshell, a screen siren whose beauty and talent set a new standard for Hollywood glamour. But behind the scenes, her life was marked by tragedy, none more mysterious than the death of her husband, Paul Byrne. The couple's marriage was already under a microscope. He was a respected producer, and she was the rising star everyone wanted to watch. Just 2 months after their wedding, Paul Byrne was found dead in their Beverly Hills home. The official story was that he had taken his own life, but almost immediately, rumors began to swirl. Some whispered that a former romantic partner had played a role, while others pointed to secret struggles or even foul play. MGM, desperate to protect its stars and its reputation, moved quickly to control the narrative. Studio executives arrived on the scene before the police, and some believed evidence was removed or altered to avoid a bigger scandal. Jean Harlo was kept away from the press, her grief and confusion hidden from public view. The mystery of Paul Byrne's death remains unsolved to this day. Decades later, biographers and Hollywood historians still debate what really happened. What's clear is that Jean Harlo, despite her heartbreak, carried on and continued to dazzle audiences with her work. Her resilience in the face of tragedy became part of her legend, a testament to the strength that often lies beneath the brightest smiles. Loretta Young's secret child. Loretta Young was known for her grace, beauty, and a career that spanned decades. But behind the scenes, she carried a secret so closely guarded that it wouldn't come to light for many years. A secret that revealed just how far Hollywood would go to protect its stars. In the early 1930s, Loretta Young starred opposite Clark Gable in Call of the Wild. During the film's production, the two reportedly became close, and rumors of a romance followed them. Soon after, Loretta vanished from the public eye, citing illness. What the public didn't know was that she was expecting a child, in a time when an unplanned pregnancy could end a woman's career. Loretta and her studio devised a plan. After giving birth, she placed her daughter in an orphanage, then later adopted her in a carefully orchestrated move. The truth was kept from almost everyone, including her own daughter, for decades. The story remained hidden until well after both Loretta and Clark Gable had passed away. When it finally came out, it was a revelation, not just of Hollywood's power to control narratives, but of Loretta's determination to protect her child and her own dreams. The legacy of Loretta Young's secret is a powerful reminder of the pressures faced by women in early Hollywood and of the lengths they went to keep both their families and their careers intact. If you enjoyed this journey through Hollywood's hidden past, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories from the world behind the curtain. Let us know in the comments which scandal surprised you most and which old Hollywood mystery you want us to explore next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.